For instance, if you know someone in program, if you know a physician in clinical hospital, you let them know. So it works like that. If you know a program coordinator, for instance, then you can contact. If it comes from the coordinator or from someone trusted, then response rate might be high. That one option. Another option, which is not for this, but when you start your project, you put in mind that budget for that, then you can also think about giving people some money, covers the cost of 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So
Okay.
some people do that. So
Okay, thank you so much. It's so helpful.
okay, so it's 2 o'clock. Krupa, are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
So hi everyone, and welcome to the Zoom meeting, and it's wonderful to have you all. So we're gonna start, and this will be recorded, so whoever comes late, they can give you the material online. So it's up for you, Krupa. You can continue. Thank you so much for taking care of the Zoom. Thanks.
No problem. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So the first part of our presentation is how to do, just one second. How to do a poster. Okay, is there anything blocking the view?
No, I think it's clear.
Okay. Okay, thanks. All right, so I'm going to go over how to do a poster presentation, and then after that, someone will do virtual presentations. So now we have poster presentations, which are basically, since we're not going to the conference, we're doing it on a PowerPoint slide. And so the first thing we want to do is title our research. And, oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Sorry for the technical difficulty. So the first thing we want to do is write the title of our research. We want to keep it scientific. Don't make it too creative or flary because it's going to be a medical poster. And then we want to put the author names. We want to do the first and last name, and you can include the affiliations. And then if you look in the top left, it says Mercer University School of Medicine, and on the right side, it's the VA. So what we want to do is take the logos, but with the logos, you want to make sure you ask the authors, because some institutions do not allow you to use their logo without permission. So just make sure you ask your authors if you can use the logo, and you can put the logos on the top. Now, for the background, we have to provide a concise introduction to your research topic. You may cite a few references. You can cite them in parentheses format, or you can do the superscript. Include your aim or objective. That provides the purpose for your research. Why are you doing this research is what is the question you're answering. And then you can write a paragraph, or you can use bullet points. I prefer to use bullet points because I think that it's just more reader friendly. So I like to do bullet points. Then, yikes. Oh my. Is there any way I can remove, does anybody know how I can remove the, okay, never mind, I got it. Okay, so for the methods, you provide a how-to of your research. How was this research conducted? If you're using a database type of study, then you want to specify the database. If it's the national inpatient database, you would list that. You would list the years for the data that you use. So if you use 2016 to 2018, you want that number, like you want the years to be present. The sample size, whatever your sample size is, include it like n equals 50,000. What variables you studied and how was the research assessed? So the statistical method. If you do a literature review, you want to specify what years were searched, what databases you used. Did you use PubMed? Did you use Google Scholars? And then the keywords you used. And if it's a case report, instead of having methods and results, instead you're going to have case. So you're going to have background, case, and conclusion, or like a background, case, analysis, and conclusion. So for a case report, it would be like a 68-year-old male presented. You would write that story in the case section. For the results, you want to include your findings, use percentages instead of fractions, and you want to provide an analysis. Was there an increase, a decrease? Did something stay stable? And then, you can include your tables, your charts, or any kind of figures on the right side or underneath that, however you have the space. And you want to write, explain that figure. So when you can say, hey, this is figure 1, and this is what it is showing. And then for conclusion, just provide a summary statement about why your data is significant. You can make inferences about future research, like what can future research do about this topic, or basically how this can help clinicians, like how can this be, what can be implied from your findings. For references, use a number format and use AMA style because that's usually the most common style that's used with medical posters. And then you want to have a disclosure. And in the disclosure, if there's any kind of conflicts, you would include that. And if there's nothing, you could just write all authors have no disclosures. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, and then let me just show you, I did one recently and it kind of followed the same thing. And this was also for, why am I having trouble with this? Okay, let me just see this works. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so I did a recent one, and basically this was the topic. It was psychiatric illnesses in women with elective abortions, and we analyzed this database. And then, we just included the logos basically for all of the people. We couldn't include some of the authors' logos because they had to get permission from administration. So, we did not include those. But then in the background, we just provided in a bullet format, like what the statistics were, and then what our study is aiming to do. And then in the methods, we also, just included the study years that we did. We didn't include the sample size. That should have possibly been included here. That would be something we would have to include. And then also how we evaluated the association. So here, we talk about using univariate and multivariate logistic regression methods. And then in the results also, we just did like bullet points and we did percentages. And then we referenced it with this table. And then we had this and we referenced that as well. And then for the conclusion, we just included like in a sentence format, just what this conclusion was showing. And then we wrote about what can this help, how can this help clinicians? So we wrote, considering our findings, we hope that healthcare professionals will emphasize initial mental health screenings and closely follow women who had elective abortions for the potential development of psychiatric and substance use disorders. And then, we included whatever our references were here. This was one, and we had 2 references and we used them in the background. So we included the numbers as you see 1 and 2 here, and then we had the disclosures. And that is all I have for the poster presentation. So I'm now going to let Amna and Tahani take over. But before that, does anyone have any questions?
No.
Okay.
This is a great presentation. Thank you so much. And I just want to add also, sometimes when you do a research project, sometimes you get funding. So below
Yes.
the disclosure, you can also add the sources for funding. Like for instance, now we have the fellowship. If we are writing anything about the fellowship, it's funded by funding agency at MSU. So we can add that as well. Thank you so much. This great presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Nader. So now I'm going to hand it over to Amna and Tahani. I think Tahani will go first.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everybody.
So,
Let me share the screen first. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll talk about research paper presentation. So the first page will contain the title, and this is the most important part. That should be centered, so the title in the mid should be in the middle. And it will contain the full title of the research paper. It also contains the author name and the date of publication. The author name will contain the first name, middle initial, and last name. And here's an example of the first page. So the research project title, and in the middle, then the author name, and it contains the institution name and the date of publication. Then the introduction. So this should identify the topic and provide essential context using few references. And ideally, the introduction should be a single paragraph and mean to introduce the content. At the end of the introduction, we'll have the objective and the aim of your research. Then the methodology or the methods of this research. And this section should describe what was done to answer the research question, and describe how it was done, and justify the experimental design, and explain how the results were analyzed. Then the results. This include detail about the data analysis and interpretation, as well as the statistical significance tests. And this may include the tables, charts, and graphs. And present the data objectively without comment. Then we have the discussion. After that, we have the discussion and conclusion. The purpose of discussion is to review the study finding in light of published literature and draw a conclusion from the data. Conclusion is where you demonstrate the significance of your findings, insights, and observation. The conclusion will create a bigger picture of your research, and that helps the reader view the subject of your study as a whole and in a new style, in this new light. So also in the discussion and conclusion, we suggest future inferences of your research for readers and researchers. And the last page will have the references, and we will list them in numerical order using AMA style. And you have to make sure that numbers are accurately cited in the introduction and discussion. And so the reference essentially provides the information necessary for reader to locate and retrieve any source you cite in the body of the paper. So this concludes this. Thank you. And if you have any question, feel free to ask. Otherwise, Dr. Amna will present tips about the interview. Is about the virtual presentation.
Yes, I just want to interrupt. So this was basically the oral presentation, like the PowerPoint that you would prepare. And then Dr. Amna will just talk about the tips on how to do the virtual oral presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tahani. Great job.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Amna.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you hear me clearly?
yes.
Okay. Tahani, just stop sharing the screen so I can do.
Are you able to share now?
No, you are sharing your screen. You end the share.
Okay.
They should say stop share. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So I'm going to present simple virtual presentation tips that you should follow if you present your paper virtually. Usually there is two types of presentations: regular presentations, which is in-person presentation, and virtual presentation. And there are differences between these two. The virtual presentation usually competing with more distractions because people are remotely and they have their cell phones and laptops and other devices beside them, and they can be distracted easily. So it's more difficult for you to keep their attention all the time. And there is lack of connection and engagement between the audience and you if you present it virtually, because you are not all in the same room. And it offers great scalability that usually larger amount of people will attend the presentation because it's so easy that you only need device and internet connection rather than you need to travel or there's a limited space to do in-person presentation. In virtual presentations, a large amount of people can dial in and attend your presentation. And it is very difficult for you to charge the energy in the room and to monitor that everyone is following you. So the very thing that you should do, that you should eliminate distractions before you start your presentation. By know your technology, you should know how your sound turned on, how your device work, so that you minimize the distractions and nervousness you got when you have a trouble in the middle of your presentations. So make sure that you know your technology very well and always practice before your presentation so that you get used to the slides. And you should dial into your call ahead of time to make sure that everything is working, your computer is fully charged, and your mic is working fine, and screen sharing and camera. And also check the lighting and raise your computer so that you are looking slightly up at your screen. Don't put your computer too low or too high. Usually put it slightly at the same level of your eyes, so there is a better eye contact with you and the audience. And close out windows. You don't need to minimize any noise you got. Also ask participants to mute their mics until they are ready for questions and answers. Professional surrounding and background. Check that the background of your camera and keep it neutral. Don't put too much things and things that are unnecessary because presentation is kind of a formal meeting. So keep the background neutral. You can use a virtual background, and also you can blur the background like in Zoom and Microsoft Teams. It offers these two features. Pay attention to your audio quality. Usually use a USB computer connected microphone or directional mic because the computer audio may be too low and it's not clearly enough. So use either microphone or directional mic and speak slowly and clearly so that everyone could follow you, because it's more difficult for people to follow you in virtual than in person presentation. And keep the mic away from your mouth so that your breathing sound can distract people from hearing you well. Also change your pitch, speed, tone, and delivery style with what you are presenting. Don't be monotonous throughout your speech. Change it according to what you are saying. Usually use pauses. This is a chance to gather your thought, and the audience had a chance to think about it. Okay, dress professionally. Choose the same clothes that you would wear if you are attending an in-person conference, and avoid colors like white, red, or any color that's similar to the background you use. Usually use plain colored shirt and pants. The slide should contain concise information and should be straightforward, and it should focus on your main objectives. Don't make heavy slides with a lot of words that are unnecessary that will confuse people and they will be unable to read the important information. And enlarge your font that everyone could clearly read what is written in the slides. Keep your slide colorful and use graphics and photos as you can. And don't stay on one slide for too long because people get bored and they are more probably get to be distracted by their phones. They may be into social media or something like that. So don't stay in one slide for too long. Add more slides. As I said, keep your slide concise, contain few words, and add more slides. And use only the time you need. Then, if your presentation is going to take half an hour, for example, so say it in half an hour. Don't make it 1 hour and speak an unnecessary speech. The beginning and end of your presentation need to be strong so that people tend to remember most the beginning and the end of the presentation, so it should be strong and you should identify your term clearly. And at the end, you should recap everything you said, so people will memorize it better. During the presentation, you can engage your audience in the speech by making an interaction, like asking your audience questions. And it's better if you ask them questions by calling their name, so they will have attention that you could say a name of them at any time, so they are more likely to be following you. And you can use platform features like raise hands if they have questions or an addition, or they can ask questions, or you can use the chat. Also bring energy to your delivery, communicate passion and energy for your ideas, and practice to make your voice more dynamic and engaging to help people get attention to what you are saying, and make an eye contact by looking at the camera of the laptop. Usually during presentation, the visual effect has the most significant effects on people attention. It constitutes about 55%. So you should make an eye contact, as I said before, and you should move your camera away from you a little so that everyone can see your hand gesture. And try to pause some time and add a small note after you finish making an important point, so that you will emphasize it and people will memorize it better. Use your hands, your facial expressions, and your body to add to your communication. Last thing you could do is to summarize everything you said and to ask people if they have any questions. So give a brief summary and respond to the audience questions, and follow up for feedback. Ask them about their opinion and the positive and negative things in your presentation. Any questions?
Great job, Hani and Anna. Thank you so much, Rupert, Hani, and Anna. This is great presentation. All of you did great, and it's concise and it's to the point. And I think you hit the tips that we need to work on. So when you prepare your poster, if it's in person, they will give you the instruction about what the dimension you print it out, and then you will take it to the platform where you hang it, and you will be standing there. Most likely people will come and ask you questions if they read the poster, and you will be able to communicate, answer their questions. And sometimes they have judge who will come and see the poster and evaluate your communication skills, your topic, the importance of the poster, and then if they have questions, they ask you, and then they mark down how you did, and then compare everyone, and most likely they will pick up the first top 3 posters, and they give them awards. Similarly, when you do the virtual poster, also you want to focus on your presentation, as the presenter now give you the tips. So everything was said here is important. The only thing I want to add is your smile. So keep a smile if you are in person or virtual. This will also add big confidence, and the reception from the audience will be greater. Thank you so much, everyone. And if any questions, please let us know. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Nader. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, if there's no questions, I will hand it to Sumi for creating basic tables.
Before Sumi, I want to add one more practical point. So we submitted an abstract for one conference, and I'm going to share the. So the response was we got that accepted. This is basically the steps of the instruction of how they want us to present that poster. So they give you the instructions, exactly the size and the font and what format of the file when you submit the file. And there is an optional video recording. If we want to, we can record that using YouTube, and then we can upload that to the website where they give you the website. And also they give you option for handouts, like if you want to add PDF files or print out, sometimes this is an option. So each conference or institutions or body that you want to present at, they will give you some instructions or guidance that will help you when you prepare your poster and so forth. So, and also I want to welcome Dr. Khalid Adam. He is with us now, and he will be adding some comments later after Sumi, I think. Thank you, Khalid, for coming over.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Nader, for the opportunity. I will just share my experience about ERAS writing after Sumi's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Sumi, when you are ready.
Yeah. Thank you, Khalid, and welcome. And it's very nice to see you again as a resident here. And I'm going to share my screen. Is that okay?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Everybody can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here I'm going to show that how to create basic tables. But before going to that, I just want to discuss a little bit that what is the purpose of table in research. So in table means defines like defined perspective, but why do we use table in research, especially in clinical research? So basically these tables are used to organize data that is too detailed or complicated to be described adequately in the text. And it's also allow the reader to quickly see the results. They can be used to highlight the trends or patterns in the data and to make a manuscript more readable by removing numeric data from the text. So basically, we can add anything, creating a table. Even sometimes we also add the demographic data using tables, and we use like different numerical number, different relationship, correlation, so many other things. And how to create a table and what's the purpose of table in an abstract presentation or something. After showing like how to create a table, I can share a manuscript or I think it's the published journal to all of you. So when you have time or if you're interested, you can later you can read that. All right. So here, this is just a Word document. So I'm just here the insert. If you click insert, you can see a table here. So click that. And when you click that, it will give you like insert table. There are a couple of options. Insert from top to bottom, like insert table, draw table, Excel spreadsheet, and quick tables. So first one, I'm going like insert tables. So if you click that, you can see like it shows like table size. So it depends on like how many columns and how many rows you want to make based on your data. And it will like auto fit behavior. There is some auto fit behavior already, it is corrected. So let's say you want to make like 6 columns and 3 or 4 or 5 rows, 6 rows, and then click OK. So now you can see that we have 6 columns and 6 rows. And after that, you can go like, you can see that feature. So you can change your features clicking by this, any of these table styles. So on the top, I'm clicking, and you can make your own choice or whatever the way you want to. And after that, there is a border painter you can see on the right top. And if you click that, and based on that, you can sorry, I can, yeah. So if you do the border painter, I don't know why it is not showing, like it will basically, now most of the time it shows a different types of colors. So you can paint your colors or like different, like, you know, you can color your borders or something, or you can paint your borders according to your interest. So this is one thing. And I'm going back to again, insert and tables. So after that, let's say like you want to edit header. So just left click and then you can do edit header. So it will come like that. And let's say you want to add or delete more columns. So in that case, just give me 1 minute. Yeah, so if you right click, it will give you an option. You can see here, insert table or delete table. So if you click insert table, you can see like insert above. There are 4 options: insert above, insert below, insert left, insert right. So if you click insert above, you can see that it's already added 1 column. And then if you click insert below, you can see it's insert like 1 of below. If you click right, it will do like that. So like it's, you can adjust it according to your data. And let's see if you have to delete. So same thing. If you click delete, it will give you some options such as like delete cells, delete columns, delete rows, or delete the whole table. So if you say like delete cells, see now it will ask you shift cells left, shift cells up, and delete entire row or delete entire column. So you can do whatever the way you want or whatever the things you need. So this is like kind of basics for that. And like how to make tables like that. So this is like as basic. Now I'm going to, this is one way of making tables, and there are like 4 ways. So there is another way is like draw table. So in that case, you can draw basically, let's say here, you can draw like the way you want. Like if you want to, sorry. So if you draw like let's say you draw 1 column, like it will come like that. And if you want to draw 1 rows, it will come like, so you can draw according to your things, or you can insert like that. So this is like this, and you can use this eraser, like if you need to erase 1 column or something like that, you can do that. And you can same way, you can insert above, you can insert below, you can insert right, and you can insert below. And I'm clicking on the top. Now you can see that on the top left, there are some options like insert above, insert below, insert left, insert right, like that. And you can delete, has the delete options. And same things, if you need to merge cells, you can do that. If you need to split cells, you can, again, it will tell you number of columns, number of rows. So let's say if you select like 1 or a number of columns, 1 number is, you want to split the number of columns, the number of rows 1, then click OK, and it will do that. And if in case if you want to split table, you have that option too. So that's like another way of doing it. And I'm going to the next one now. Just otherwise you guys will be confused. So again, I'm going to the same one, table. So I saw you insert table and draw table. So the next one is Excel spreadsheet. So this is the third one. And if you click that, let's see where it takes me. Sorry, my computer is a little slow, so it will take a little time. So, okay, so this is the spreadsheet. It's another way. So I sometimes what happened, like the other two option I showed you, those are the things like when you are already have a data, like let's say you analyze through SPSS or like some other software, and you want to create table, your data is already ready, then you can use those types of, those are the ways that you can convert your data to those, insert your data to those tables. Let's say you've collected the data, but it's not analyzed yet, or something you have to analyze, or like, then you can use a spreadsheet, like, this the way. So let's say, just for example, like column 1, and I put, sorry. I put here, like, I insert something 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you select all of those, and then you click this, and you see like how it goes. If you click that quick analysis, it will give you that, and you can use whatever the way you want. Like that's one example. This is another example. And let's say you want this icon set like this. So you want to show like, one is decreasing, something is stay same, and something is increasing. So you can use that way. And the other one is like, let's say something like you want to see like greater than or lesser than. So it will show like that. It will convert into like, so it's like you can design it whatever the way you want. So this is the advantage of doing like, and you can insert your data here. It's just exactly as like Excel sheet. You can analyze your data using your Excel, and you can, when you select all of those, and if you click this, then you can tabulate your data like the way you want. So this is the basic for this one. And I have one more left for, sorry. So again, I'm going to insert same thing. And table. So I show you insert table, draw table, and then Excel spread. And this is the quick table. That's the last option. So quick table is like very easy. Let's say you already have your data and like all the information you have with you. So it will give you the format. So you click that and you just edit it. Like, probably instead of that, you have like class A, something like that, and then class B. Already you know that what kind of data you have, and it's like quick table, or you probably have to present it with your teacher or something like your coursework. So you do not have much time. So you already have your data, and you just need to type here and just delete. Same way you can delete, and the way I showed you, same thing like that, and then you can just put those data. So this is like kind of a quick table. And you can like here, like there are much options, like the whatever your data set have things, you can make it like that same way, like not necessarily have to make like that. Let's say you want to make like your data set is something like that, like define things, you can do like that. So it's like, it's the way, like it's a very easy, and like it's if you need a quick tables for any reasons for presentation, even for your like a tabular list or something, you can make your list, or what, like, you know, let's say you are writing a grant or something, you need to make a budget or something. That's also how many items you need, and how much, how many units, what are the items, and how much money you're gonna spend. So you can make this type of tables using this one. So this is like very basic, and I'm not very like detailed about it either, but whatever, I tried my best, and that's all. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I'm going to share what's the importance of like adding or including tables in your abstract that in the chat box. Thank you. Anybody have any questions or anything?
Thank you so much. So it is great as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Sumi. Now graphs and charts, Lena and Verda will do.
Oh, hello, everyone. I will present the graph using Google Sheets. So allow me to share my screen. Okay, so here we have our Google Sheet with all the data. So we will start using these columns here. Insert. Then we have chart. Okay, so here give me a line chart. From chart type here, we can change whatever I need. Line chart, we can change it to the area chart. Column by chart, I have all the option here. So let's start with the pie chart for this one. So this pie chart, it's overall population versus the patient who develops symptoms. So here I can change it to here. Okay, so here it gave me the overall and the patient who develops symptoms. Okay, we can go to customize your chart. So here we have the chart style. You can change the background color, the font I use. If I want to maximize, change 3D. Okay, so here we have the chart titles. So I can use it here to change the title, or from here. Can change the titles, the subtitles also, from overall, or the percentage who develop symptoms. Okay, this is for pie chart. We can copy this chart after we finish and go to the Google document. Get a new one. So okay, so when I want to paste my chart here, there is an option to link the chart to spreadsheet. That means every time I change anything in the spreadsheet, it will change the chart on the Google document. I have my chart here. So then can delete it from here. Okay, so another option, we can use the column chart. The same thing, chart. We can change the column. Okay, here we can change the x-axis and the y-axis or the series of the chart. For example, we have the females for the blue color. Can even change the series for males. Color, line color, the dash colors. We can add the data labels to label everything in the male. So we can do this for females. We can customize our chart, just like the pie chart. Our series, our titles, our horizontal axis and vertical axis, whatever we want to change according to our data. And then we can copy it to your Google document or your presentation or whatever you want and link it to the spreadsheet. Okay. Another thing, we can use the map chart, or if you have countries in your study. So you go for insert, chart, Google Sheet just created a pie chart, but if we want to change it, we go to the chart type and change it to the map chart or GeoChart. We can customize that GeoChart style. So for the minimum value, we can choose whatever color we want. For example, we can go to the faint color here, to the minimum, and a little bit darker color here, the mid, and for the max, we can use the darker one. So here you create the chart using the word map. You can also change the region. If you, for example, want a chart for just Africa, United States, Europe, Asia, you can choose from here. For example, this United States one. It will show you just the United States region. To here for all the charts. So you can have the titles or something else here, just the GeoChart. You can have another type of GeoChart, which using the labels. It will label here the country, for example, Italy. Okay. So is anyone having any question here about this? Anyone having any question?
This is also great. Thank you so much, Lina. This is really to the point and nice demonstration. If no questions, I have some examples that I want to share with you guys. So, for instance, this graph or chart. This is about the fellowship in geriatric in the US in the last few years. So, geriatric medicine, the first columns here showed the year 2016 until last year, and the number of positions, the number of programs up, and then the number of positions down. The total position in blue, while the filled positions are in red. So we can see that 50% of all programs in the last 5 to 6 years were filled, and the total number of programs in the US ranges about 150, give or minus, plus or minus. give or take. So basically, you can put your graph, and when you show people, you can just put a line where you can demonstrate the numbers, and here you can create the numbers that's obvious for the graph for you. Another one, when you want to present something, you can also present like in the pie shape, as Lena mentioned. The other one is when you present more than one item, you can put them in, let's say, squares, and you can add some icons and then put the numbers. Here, this is for one of the drug companies, and they use the line method to indicate the reduction of some symptoms when using this medicine. So there are different ways to present your data. And thank you so much, everyone. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. Now I'm going to present how to do charts and graph on the Excel sheet. Let me share my screen with you. So how to do graphs and charts in the Excel sheet. So I'll start with very basic things. So first you need to learn how to insert a chart and then how to adjust it. Then I'll show how to improve it and then how to add series in it. And in the end, I'll show you how to create different combinations with different series. So why we use graph and charts in research? Because it can condense a large amount of information into easy to understandable formats that can clearly and effectively communicate the important points. So usually we use the bar graphs, line graph, pie chart, and they can easily display any kind of categorical data. So can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So I have made a very easy to understand data right now. So, so firstly, I'll start with how to insert a chart. So there are two ways. One is an easier one, and the other one is a little bit a difficult one, but it's through that method, you can add any kind of data you want. So right now, for example, if I start with insert, I'll go with the chart, for example. I picked this one.
I think we are still looking at the Word document.
Oh, okay.
So sorry.
I'm so sorry. Just 1 minute. How can I share?
You can stop the sharing and then select the sharing again, select the window.
So, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. New share. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Can you? Okay, perfect. So I was saying that I will start with how to insert a chart in the Excel sheet. So this is a very simple data. I'll start with, firstly, I'll pick the option insert. And for example, I picked the 2D column, but it's blank because I haven't selected any data yet. So I'll pick select data. For that, you will go to legend entries and access labels. So the legend entries in this particular case is actually the sale. And here I'll add the column which is below the sale. Okay, so now I need to add the axis. The name of the cars are considered the axis. So I will go here and then I pick this and then I pick OK and it's done. So that's how it plotted the graph. Now, for example, I did not like this graph and I want to change it. So I'll double click and then change the chart type or the graph type. For example, I want it to be a bar graph. I pick this option and I pick OK. So I changed it. So this is how you can insert a graph according to your data. Now, how to adjust it. For example, you need to bring some changes in this particular graph. So you will go for, like, you will click on this. And for example, I want to add data labels. I pick this option. So these are the data labels. And from here, I go to this. So for example, I want it inside the end. So you can see the numerical values, they are inside the end. Or I want it to be a data callout. So it will be presented in this way. So depending on the whatever you want to bring, like whatever kind of change you want to bring to the graph, you can easily do it. Now I will go for more options. So for more options, we have a whole set of options through which we can adjust it or format it according to our choice. For example, my supervisor told me that he doesn't want me, like my colleagues told me that the Tesla should be on top, and like exactly like the table. So how will I change it? I'll go for the label options and I'll go for the numbers. And then I firstly pick the axis, and from axis, the categories in the reverse order. So whatever thing you click, like for example, I'm clicking this, it will make it easy for me to change that particular thing I clicked. For example, I click the axis. Now it will give me an option how to change it. Basically, the more important options are in this this thing. So I'll pick it. I'll go for the axis option, and now I want the categories in a reverse order. So I pick this one, and you can see it's exactly the same. The Tesla is on top. So I have changed it. I have adjusted it according to my requirement. Now, how to improve it? For example, I want to improve it visually. I want to change the colors. I want to make the lines thicker or something like that. So I go with this. So for example, I want it these values to have a solid fill. I can pick that option. So here the color is white. I want it to be yellow. So it will be highlighted accordingly. I want this particular line to be a solid line. So you can see it is more prominent now. I want its color to be orange. So it will change to a dark orange color. Now I want to change the width of the line. So it's thicker now. So that's how I can improve it in the way I want it to be, and I can make it more visually appealing by that. So now the fourth point is like I want to add another series so that I can compare both of them. So what can I do here? Like I'll click this, and then it's the easiest method. I do like this. And you can see in the sales, the budget is added. Like the top ones are the budget and the lower one are the sales. So in this way, I have made it like I've added another series. And if I want to add more series, I can make more columns and then add it accordingly. So from here, the last and the most important thing is how to create a combination. So it's quite easy. Like, for example, I want to make it in a form of a combination chart so that I can understand it more easily. I'll pick this, the one with the budget. Then, I'll double click it. then I will change the chart type. So I want a combination. So I pick the option combo and I selected this one. And now, as you can see, it is now in form of two kind of charts so that I can compare it easily. For the last but not the least, there are a lot of other things that we can add it, like I want a chart title. So for that, because it's kind of a comparison, so I can make it like budget. And another thing that could be added is legends. So what it does, that it kind of give you an idea about the two things that we are trying to compare. So that's about the graphs and charts on Excel sheet. Do you have any questions? No questions? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Varda. Now we will move on to Ira, Sama, and Afra.
Thank you so much, Brenda, and thanks everyone. So let's go for last tips and any questions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sama. Me and Afrah prepared this presentation about supplemental ERAS application. We tried our best to find information about it because there is a lot of questions in this topic, of course. So yeah, feel free to ask any question at any time. Okay, so first we will start by the definition. What is the meaning of supplemental ERAS? So the supplemental ERAS application features new questions that will help applicants showcase their interest and experiences to the programs. So the information will help residency programs better understand how applicants' interest and experience align with their program environment, mission, and goals. What are the participating programs? So basically, this supplemental ERAS is related to programs in dermatology, general surgery, categorical only, and internal medicine, preliminary and categorical. So all are eligible to make use of the supplemental ERAS application. So the supplemental ERAS consists of 4 sections. There is a section for past experiences, section for geographic information, peripheral signaling, and work preferences. And this is for research only, and it's optional. So all sections and questions within the supplemental ERAS application are optional. Okay, so basically, this table shows a deadline for supplemental ERAS. So we have 2 windows. So window 1, supplemental ERAS started by September 1st at 9 a.m. And it will close tomorrow, September 19th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. So the one who submits his supplemental ERAS within the first window, the application and signals provided to the participating programs will appear in September 29 at 9 a.m. Eastern time. For people who don't complete their ERAS supplement, the second window will start from September 20 till September 30. So it will be done at September 30 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. That one will be showed to the program by October 6th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And according to AAMC, they said the application will be basically every week be uploaded again and again. So it's updated. So assessing the application. So the application process is initiated when an applicant saves one or more programs that are participating in supplemental ERAS in dermatology, general surgery, or internal medicine. So before saving the programs, the application will not appear, because after you start to save programs, and there is a program that are related to supplemental ERAS, AMC will send for you an email that containing the access for the supplemental ERAS. So approximately 24 hours after you save a program, the AMC will send you an invitation email with a personalized link to the supplemental application. So the comparison between the supplemental versus the standard MyERAS. The supplemental application is separated from the standard MyERAS application, but there are some similar components. Basically, AAMC recommend drafting your standard ERAS application first, because it will help you complete some sections in the supplemental ERAS application. So in the standard MyERAS application, we have all relevant experiences related to work, research, etc. But in supplemental ERAS, just we have top 5 meaningful experiences related to the training, work, research, etc. In a standard MyERAS application, we have publications, but in supplemental ERAS, we have research output that can be included if they were a result of a specific research experience, listed as part of the top 5 experiences. So if we mention the research in the 5 meaningful experience, then we can analyze it. Sorry. So in standard ERAS, no defined space to communicate geographic preferences. However, in supplemental ERAS, geographic division and urban and rural setting preferences are there. In standard MyERAS, no defined space to communicate program preferences. In supplemental ERAS, we have preference signals. So we'll start first by the component. We have past experiences section. So here we are identifying up to 5 experiences that have been most important to your development and career goals. You may list less than 5 experiences. That's okay. These experiences could have occurred prior to or during medical school. May reflect variety of experience types like work, research, volunteer, and may include clinical experiences. So any meaningful experience that may make the program think positive about the candidate can be there, not only the clinical experiences. So you will be asked a series of questions for each experience that highlight key characteristics of the experience. For medical, volunteer, research experience, we will be asked to provide additional details through a series of questions. You will be asked to briefly describe why each experience was most meaningful, and how was the experience instrumental on your journey to residency. So in the general experience question, we have position title. This means, for example, if I mention that I was doing volunteer job, for example, right now I'm doing volunteering job, my position is a teacher. So it's just define yourself, whatever. Then the organization name, that known, they start, end date, or it is ongoing. Then the frequency of participation. If you participate once per week, weekly, daily, whatever. Then the type of the experience, as we mentioned before, the location, setting, and knowledge of medicine or healthcare required. If, for example, right now I'm volunteering as Islamic teacher,
So I will mention that no knowledge of medicine or healthcare required. That's it. So the second one will be medical or healthcare experiences question. So here they ask about institution, patient care if applicable, and the clinical training type if it's applicable. Okay, so this part is a little bit complicated. It is a research experiences question. So first they ask what is the research type? Is it basic science bench, which is provide foundation of knowledge for applied science, laboratory based or something? Clinical transitional. This one explores the new or refinement to treatment, medication, or diagnostic technique, clinically patient care based. Third one is educational. It is medical education. So this one evaluate educational policies, instructional technology and resources, teachers or monitors, and learners, improving teaching and learning practices. Epidemiological, public health, or public policy. This studies the distribution of diseases or health-related conditions in different populations. Determination of health, strategies to prevent illness, impact of public policy. Then quality improvement. This one is studied improvement in processes or outcome and patient safety. So second, there is a question about type of research output or scholarly work. Citation for research output. So when they said citation for research output, they mean published, accepted, or submitted written piece. For example, we will start to answer the journal, title, author, date published, date accepted on the something, or date submitted on, includes a PubMed ID if applicable. So if it is presented, accepted, or submitted poster or presentation, we have to write the title, meeting, authors, date presented, date to be presented on, or date submitted on. Then contribution to the research output and additional research output. Contribution to research output, like it ended by publication, ended by poster presentation or something. And if you mention something there, then number 5 is there is additional research outputs. Then number 4, they will ask about volunteer experience. So in volunteer experience, the question will be which type of population you are serving. So it is very important to mention that, for example, I'm doing volunteering job as Islamic teacher who is, for example, teaching pediatrics or young people. So whatever the population that you are serving, you have to mention. Then the other part, it have meaningful experiences description. So for each experience, briefly describe why the experience was meaningful. What did you learn from the experience? How was it instrumental in your career development? How did it shape your career goals? So this one have to be up to 300 characters. There is another portion that called other impactful experiences. So this one is a little bit similar to our personal statement. Here we have to provide additional information about your background or life experiences that is not captured elsewhere in the application. For example, information written in this question should not be the same as what is included in the personal statement. So it is similar to the personal statement, but it's important to not mention the same thing that mentioned in the personal statement. Then describe any challenges or hardships that impacted your journey to residency. So this could include experience related to family background, financial background, community setting, educational experiences, and or general life experiences. This one like long, like essay, like 750 characters. So then the geographic information. So this part, if you indicate I don't have a division preference, so this selection will be shared with all programs. Before that, yeah, so geographic information, they don't mention a state, for example, or a town. They mention zones. For example, we have to choose, for example, Northeast, Midwest, West, like this. So I think this part is easy. For example, if I'm interested in the IMG friendly programs, I will look for the zones that have IMG friendly programs. For example, New York area, Michigan area, or Illinois area, which is, I think with Michigan is the same area. So this geographic information, we can select the areas that have the IMG friendly programs and then select the area at all. So you can say just, for example, Northeast area. This is my geographic preference. So if you indicate a preference for a division, your preference for that division and any additional information about your preference will be shared only with the program in that division. So the other programs will not see what are you, what area you are selected or which program you are selected. Your preference for that division will not be shared with programs outside of that division. So if you don't indicate a preference for the division in which a program is located, or indicate I don't wish to communicate a division preference, no division preference information will be shared with the program. So then preference signaling. The preference signaling refers to a process in which applicants express interest in residency program at the time of application. So programs will not see whether an applicant participated in signaling. They will only see whether an applicant signaled their programs. So if you choose one program, the program is the only one who can see that you are signaled that program. Other programs will not know which program you signal. So when deciding where to signal, you are encouraged to consider the strengths of your application, your unlimited career goals, and your personal circumstances with the relative competitiveness, mission, and goals of the program to which they apply. You may consider signaling programs in which you have a particular interest that is not evident in your application, such as geographic preference or interest in a particular area of research or program mission focus. So now about submitting the supplemental ERAS application. If you submit your application by or before September 19, your responses will be final and shared with programs. If you leave the question blank until after September 19, you can continue to make changes until the final deadline on September 30. However, you must be sure to select yes below before the final deadline in order for programs to see your response. If you leave the question blank or select no, then your response will not be shared with the program to which you applied. Your supplemental ERAS application data will not be shared with participating program until you have applied to them in ERAS. Wishing the best of luck for all of you in this season. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's really great and informative and concise. Thanks for sharing and nice effort. Thanks.
You're welcome. Any questions?
Yes, assalamu alaikum, Samah. Thank you for your presentation. I actually have a question that was raised to me by one of our team members. He's doing his supplemental ERAS application. He's trying to include our project, the project that we're doing right now, and basically our research experience as a fellows in the geriatric fellowship, the telemedicine. So in the type of the research, we were confused, like which one should we choose? Should he choose, like it is you know, the set of 5 or 6 types, the clinical, educational, I think quality improvement. So which one is that included?
Yeah, Afrah, can you go to the page, please? If you
Yes,
never
please.
mind. Yeah, I think this question basically a lot of people ask about it, Dr. Nader.
Yes.
So I think I'll jump in. I think we can pick up the educational part. Most of what you are doing, you are not focusing on bench or basic science or clinical as far as treatment, medications. So I think the middle one will be a suitable answer, the educational medical part, because what you are doing right now, even if you are doing a project, you are trying to learn the process of how you do the research and how you improve, how do you submit, how you present, and even beside that, you want to learn other skills like presentation skills, communication skills, leadership skills. All these aspects, I think, lies within the educational part. Some of the projects might go in different direction or other, like quality improvement in certain project, but I wouldn't go there. I think at this level, all of you can apply through the educational part. When during the interview, they ask you specifically about the fellowship, then you can talk about the fellowship in general. This is what we do, this is what I'm learning, this is what I learned. And you can specifically talk about the projects that you are working on or you did. For example, I'm working on this project and we finished this, we are submitting it to this, or we are finishing the manuscript, for instance, or we already submitted an abstract and the abstract was accepted. We will be presenting in this day on that time. So this is, I think, for the purpose of the application, the answer is educational. Thank you.
You're welcome, Dr. Nader.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Nader and Sana. I am not sure if I got the question right, but he also asked about citation. Is this something that we're going to include in this when we write about this experience, the research experience?
So the citation, I think it referred to if you submit, let's say, an abstract, then you will cite where conference you submit it to, and if you are waiting for the answer, and if it's been accepted, then you can put that in the comment.
Yes.
The other one about manuscript, if you submit it to a journal, for instance, then you will say submit it to this journal and we are waiting. If it's been accepted or rejected, then you can update that part. If it's been accepted, then usually they will tell you when it will be published. Then you will put that date as publication date. And if it's published, then you will have the ID for PubMed. Like there is a number that goes with that as well. So you can put that at that time. Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Nader.
So Abdul Mahmoud and then followed by Lubaba. I think you have comments or questions. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nader. Actually, the first question is related to poster presentation. So as we all, that way back in college, we did some poster presentation. and some of us also doing graduate education, so they do kind of poster presentation. So my question is this kind of poster presentation also I could just write it down and include it in my RAS application? This is the first question. The second question, it's kind of related to RAS, and at the same time, it's related ahead to the interviews. So the town, so when they ask you about your town, you put it down in the RAS application. So is it related to, I mean, the chance that you're being selected in the region or not, for example, Western or West? Because a friend of mine, during interview, they asked him, okay, you did this and this in this institution. And later that they written is, they mentioned you are great. You're doing such a great job. So why they did not pick you there instead of just applying to us? So do we have to kind of just make sure to put a town related to, for example, IMG program? So for example, I live in Midwest. So could I choose, for example, Michigan, for example, Detroit or New York to put it down there, or is not have any kind of affected during this process? Thank you.
Thank you. I'll answer these questions, and if anyone wants to add any comments or additional information, please feel free. So the first question, both questions are great. So the first question about the past experience, if you during the medical school presented some posters, I think you can add whatever you have as experience, you can add it in the application. Either ERAS or supplemental. The problem with supplemental, you have to pick and choose. The limitation is 5, so up to 5. So you have to be very strategic as far as what goes there. So if you have experience in the US, I think it's better if you compare that to experience overseas in medical school, let's say in Sudan or some other country. If you want to pick one of either this or that, so your preference will be any experience here in the US. Let's say out of this research program, you presented a poster, and in the medical school, you presented 2 posters. So I think it makes sense to pick the poster that you are doing now and presenting now, compared to posters presented to your medical schools. The reason some of the programs will weigh things different if it's done here in the US versus other countries. This goes for research, this goes for clinical experience as well. So let's say you have observership in Sudan or observership here. So you want to compare. When you want to pick one of them, I think it's better to pick the one you did in the US. Versus overseas. This in general. The second part, you asked me about, can you remind me the question again?
When you're leaving.
Yeah, the area, and then the position of the program that you're applying to. So if, let's say, you work in New York and someone from New York wrote you a letter, and other programs interviewing you, they ask about why they did not accept you. So this put a huge work on you before you apply to these programs. You have to know exactly what's the strengths of each program you are applying to through ERAS, what I mean, and pick 1 or 2 things that particular about that program. So if they, during the interview, they ask you, you can mention, I like your program because your program provides this, number 1, and I did not find this in other programs. And the other thing is, number 2, your program also is well known for point. So it makes sense for them that you are interested in the program, you studied their program, you identified strengths in that program, and you want to contribute to that program compared to the question why they didn't take you in the program that you work in. Sometimes your answer will be you flip the question so that you want to focus on what you want to say, not what they ask you about. Similar to what's your weaknesses. You can say my weakness is this thing, but this is not the question they ask you, and they want you to identify the weakness. They want you to shine. So you can mention the weakness, but you can shine through what you did about these weaknesses. I did this to improve, I did that to improve, whatever, something. So don't think about it. They want to corner you. Use it as an opportunity to speak about their program, about your interest, about your future with them, if you join their team, and how you can contribute to their residency. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Telegeriatric.
Lubaba, go ahead.
Thank you. First, thank you for the great presentations and very enriched and informative discussion. My question regarding the ERAS supplemental application, regarding the deadlines. So what I understood from the presentation, is it editable but after the 19th if I selected to submit? If someone,
sorry, Lubaba?
is it possible to edit it after submitting it between the 19th and the 29th?
No, after submitting, no.
No, okay.
Yeah, after submitting, but before you submitting, if you don't complete, tomorrow is the last day, right?
Right.
So if you don't complete till tomorrow, you have still a chance to complete it and submit it by 30th of this month.
Mm-hmm. But that
yeah, however, yeah, that one will appear to the programs by 6th of October.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome, Lubaba.
So if you have more questions, please raise your hands. In the meantime, we welcome Dr. Khalid again. Please share your experience and any tips for the group here about anything general, the application, the interviews, or any tips that you want to share. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Nadir, and hello, everyone. You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone, again, and I'm glad to see back Sumi, Lubaba, Ali, and Khalid. I think we're the first class of this program, and thank you very much to Dr. Nadir for this great opportunity. It helped us a lot. I would like just to share part of my ERAS writing or experience. I have 3 small slides. I will share them with you. You see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So for each experience, the best thing that you need to do is to answer these 4 questions. If you answer these 4 questions in a proper way, I think your experience will be well written. Which is what were your duties and responsibilities about the specific experience? For example, in a hospital, you have to describe properly what you were doing and who did you work with. For example, nurses, attendings, fellows, medical students. And what did you learn during this experience? And you have to elaborate that very clearly. I learned this and I learned that. And also how we will use this experience in the future or to benefit the programs that you are applying to. And you have to assure them, I learned this experience and I'm going to help your program by applying all these skills I gained throughout my education while I'm doing this experience or this specific job. For example, here's one of my experiences in one of the free clinic, and I used to work at this free clinic for 2 years. And I think for people here in the United States, they are an organization of free clinics. I think in every state, you can just look around your area and you'll find these clinics, and you can join them maybe like once a week, twice a week. It depends on your schedule, but I think it's a very valuable experience to add it to your CV. For example, here, whom I work with, it is a hands-on clinic experience. I work alongside attending physicians, nurses, and medical students to provide healthcare to a primarily underserved immigrant and uninsured patient population without other access to healthcare. And also, I elaborated that I provide telehealth earlier during COVID-19 pandemic. I provided patient visits both in person and virtually. And also I did like certain program. I designed like a workflow, a sheet or chart for our clinic, like how to deal with these patients. And I elaborated that in my, like in more detail. I spoke about this experience in my personal statement. One thing that I want to add, in your CV or in your ERA CV, you have certain areas or certain experiences that you are very strong at, and some of them, to some extent, might be weak experiences. Whenever you feel you have a strength, you have to, this is your chance, like to market yourself and to show them that you know the system, you know the hospitals, and you know how to take care of patients. And even sometimes you step out of your role, you can do other things. For example, like triaging COVID-19 patients that I designed for our clinic. So I elaborated that in my personal statement. So my the point that I will stress here, each experience you have strengths. I think this is your chance to explain it clearly, and each experience to be self-explanatory, and the person to understand immediately what you were doing, what you gained, how you're going to apply this. So this here, what I was doing, I review medical record of the patients and obtain through history or performing physical exams and preventive health screenings on all patients, provided anticipatory guidance, education, and counseling to patients regarding medical educations, treatment plans, and medications management. Also, during this experience, I become more proficient in documentation of patient progress notes, typing history and physical exam, and also how to deal with electronic medical records. And also it improved my communication skills either with patients or with ancillary staff. This is just as an example, but the main point that I will stress in each experience, I think you have to be able to answer these 4 questions. Go through your eras, ask yourself these questions, and make sure that all these questions answered, and make it like in a very nice language that it caught the eye and easily for the reader to digest, and not to be like boring or unfamiliar words or vocabulary. I think other part of the ERAS application, the presenter, I think Samah, she covered most of it. But again, if you have certain, I think each one of us have, we have certain areas that we have strengths. Some of them we have kind of weakness, just we add them as to fill the gap in our experiences. Any experience that you are strong at, make sure that you elaborate very well and to market yourself. In addition, there's another thing also I want to mention about this research experience. I think you can take a look at my CV. I think it is in the app, or Mulham CV, and you can add this research experience. I honestly put it in the research part, and you can add it to that, I think. Also, I would like to say that I know, like, to get a residency, it is not easy and it is not difficult. And the one thing that I will say, never give up. And people, they do it, they have, like, I will not say flaws, but weakness here and there. Like, either if you are old graduate, you have low scores, things happen. But every year there are people, very old graduates, they match. Every year there are people have very low scores, they match. Every year there are people fail part of the steps, they match. So just be hopeful. Every 6 months or 1 year, make sure that you add something to your CV, and you are learning something. Whenever there is an opportunity, someone take a look at your ERA CV to make sure that you have consistency in developing yourself, and you are open, or you have hunger for learning. I think this, it will leave a very good impression. It assures them that you are someone who's hardworking, willing to work, and you're working very hard toward achieving this goal. Last part, I think, to the questions that he asked about why you apply. For example, if you are doing, like, now your fellowship in Michigan, why you are applying to a program in New York, or for example in Ohio. I have the same questions. Most of my experiences in Boston, Massachusetts, and they ask me why you didn't apply there. At Boston, you have nice hospitals, Harvard, and this and that. And the answer here is no textbook answer, but you will answer according, I think, to the situation. But I will always stress that if you apply to program, make sure that you know some people, and tell them. I told them that I know this person, and the program director and other staff. They knew these people I knew, and I truly know them. And I spoke to them after I applied. And in addition, I told them that I need to, honestly, beside I knew these people, also I need to explore new areas. I think I had enough with Boston. I need to see new culture, new experience, and I'm someone who would like to travel and to meet new people, have new experiences. And throughout several years, I learn a lot from such activities. This is my answer to them in summary, I think. The other part, also I will say about the personal statement. Personal statement, I don't think it will never complete till the day that you submit your application. Always you feel there's something missing. Always there's something you need to add or something to subtract. My advice is to give it to as many people you trust to revise your personal statement. Everyone will give you certain points about a specific part, and you will change here and there till finally you reach like a very concrete personal statement. And also to make sure that your personal statement, the opening, it caught the eye and it is easy for the reader to have like the hunger or to be like to motivate the reader, like to read more, just to keep reading paragraph after paragraph. But if you put your personal statement, the first paragraph in a, I will not say a boring, but like hard to read, unfamiliar vocabulary, it might be like, I don't know, it might have some effect. Just make sure the personal statement edited well. Many people, they take a look at it. They will give you a very valuable advices. And personally, I remember I sent my personal statement to 7 people or 7 friends. every one of them gave me certain advice here and there, and finally I believe like a good personal statement, because what you need to do whenever there's a person open your application, it has to be, I think, convincing. Just fill the gaps, answer these questions for every experience. The personal statement, well written, very concrete, and very solid, and make sure like you have from your life experiences present some part in your personal statement. The opening and the closure of your personal statement very important. And thank you again to Dr. Nadir for the opportunity you gave us last year, and thank you to my colleagues Lubaba, Sumi, and Ali and Khalid, and also thank you for the new class, and good luck to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Khalid. This is, I think, very informative and very useful tips, and thank you. Go ahead, Lubaba.
Okay. Thank you so much, Khalid. It's really great to see you back, and we look forward to be in your position next year, hopefully, inshallah, for everyone. I have a question regarding your this experience currently shared, the one that is volunteer experience. Did anyone ask you about that? You were doing some hands-on experience without supervision, or because I know that if you are not licensed, you are not allowed to touch patients. So did you mention that you are under supervision, or you have some sort of license at this country?
During the interview, yes, they asked me excessively about my clinical experiences. And I explained in detail like what I was doing at that time specifically. And in this experience, I work along with medical students and attendings, medical students from Brown University. They join us, I think, every week, a group of them. Who will see the patient, who will discuss, I take the history and discuss with volunteer attending the management plan and the like differential diagnosis, and we have the medical student. We discuss it as a group, and then we'll go to the patients. And we tell the patient about the plan of treatment, counseling, and resources for medications, educational resources, like for a program for alcohol, or some programs like for nutrition, or some programs for weight loss. Yes, but they ask, and I think if to for the interview, maybe Mulham and I, maybe we can join, and we can have some sessions, and we can have like a live interview between two of us maybe, and then you can watch, or if you have any questions, and we'll discuss like behavioral questions and big questions about your CV or personal statement.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. I think this is a great idea, Khalid. People look at you and Mulham or someone to see how you can answer and be prepared for certain questions that are common, and you can practice on that, each one of you current fellows. Thank you so much, Khalid, for coming over, and as always, we are very glad to have you, and we appreciate your input. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Nadir, and thank you to all of the attendants, and good luck, everyone. Thank you.
So anyone has questions in general for the presenters or for Dr. Khalid? Please feel free. Go ahead.
Just I want to just make sure, I remember last time you mentioned that for the letter of recommendation, we have to send you like, I think a brief description of what we want or what the experience that we did?
So for the letter of recommendation, I have the letter in general. So what I say is you are a fellow here, you're working hard, and you are working on certain projects, and you are planning to submit, and so forth. So it's a generalized type of letter. If you want me to specifically, let's say you submitted a manuscript and that was accepted and published. So if you want me to include that in your letter of recommendation, I can do that. So I can add one line that you already submitted a manuscript that was accepted in a popular journal. That sentence will highlight some aspect of what you are doing. And specifically, you can mention that in your either personal statement or your ERAS application. So in ERAS application, you have a way to identify the projects or the publications. So you can mention this there. And the other part is sometimes you submit the poster or the abstract, and by the time you send your application, you did not hear from the journal, for instance. So by the time you have interviews, you might have an answer. Either at that time you will be your project will be accepted. Then during the interview, you can highlight that. So you can mention, oh, by the way, we submitted that poster and it's been accepted, and we're gonna be presenting that in this conference during, let's say, March or whatever day. Or you can say we submitted that manuscript to this journal and they accepted it and it will be published, and you can read it next month, for example, if you have the date when they will publish it. So there is ways you can update your application during the interview. So each thing you want to shine, you want to highlight, there is an opportunity for you to add that during the interview. If you have some information that you can add to your application, please feel free. But for the letter, I think they want to make sure you have the qualities that they need you when you join the team. Khalid, you can correct me. When you join a team as a first year resident, they want to make sure you're not a troublemaker. You are a team player. As you advance, you will become second year, you will be a team leader because you will have your first year under you. So you want to give directions to them. During first year, you will be working with not the residents, but also with fellows who is attending from different specialties. You will be working with nursing staff, with other staff members, social worker, for instance, or case managers. So they want to make sure your communication is okay, you understand other people, and you communicate to them your plan, for example. Working with patients and their families, you are okay dealing with them. All these aspects can be mentioned in the recommendation letters. So we will highlight that for implement guides. Thank you.
I agree, Dr. Nader. Yes, they stress very much about the resident or intern to be a team player, because if there's any friction or conflict between the team, it will affect the flow of like medical or clinical management of the patients, and the more flexible and more like homogeneous the team, or at least people they know that this certain part it belongs to the team or duties that you have to do. I think the team become very productive, and I think this it will reflect immediately to the patient care. And if there's any conflict, it will make like a lot of trouble and it usually escalate to the upper levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalid. Ruben, do we have other questions or? I don't see the chat. Lubaba, go ahead.
I'm sorry for the multiple questions. I do have one question again for Khalid. How to avoid repetition of explanation for our experience? For example, I have multiple extensions, 3 or 2 or 4 similar work in each. So what is your advice in not to repeat exactly what I mentioned in the first experience, despite it's going to be the same patient care? Any idea on that? Thank you.
Honestly, I don't have like a specific answer, but for my experiences that are similar, I just describe the same, like I answered these 4 questions, what I did, what I learned, and I just keep like mentioning this. I added this to my experience and I use that experience to help me to better perform this experience. I took them like in step fashion growth. Yeah, but my advice, I think, because if it is repetitive, I think it is better to repeat instead of to leave it blank or to leave the reader like wondering what this person was doing there. Thank you. Thank you. I will leave the meeting and good luck everyone, unless someone have a question.
Thank you, really, Khalid, for your informative discussion, tips, and skills that you shared with us. Thank you so much for your time, and very glad to have you. We wish you a wonderful presidency first year, and to go forward from there. We wish you all the best. Thank you so much. And if no other questions, we wish you a happy day, weekend. Thanks, weekend.
Thank you, Dr. Nadir, and thank you, everyone. Good luck to all of you.
So I just want to highlight also 2 things. Lubaba, I agree with Khalid. You can repeat yourself in the experience sections, and it's not going to be cumbersome or for the program reviewer, program director, or attendings to look at your application. It will confirm that you're still working hard to gain some skills and knowledge, and you improve your performance. So I think it's important to put as much, whatever experience you have as possible, as many. For the other question that Mahmoud mentioned, one point I want to share is that during the interview, sometimes they may focus on why you as a graduate, let's say if you graduated 5 years or more, when you join their team, they want to see you are accepting other residents who are seniors, let's say 2nd year or 3rd year, who can work as a team leader in your team. You will accept their directions or instructions. Although as far as age, maybe they are younger, maybe they just graduated and you are far before them as far as graduation year. And so there are ways to answer these questions during the interview. So this also needs some practice when you are there for the interview. You want to convince them that you are a team leader, team player, no matter what, and you will work with other people, even if there is some conflict. The idea is you work as a team for the purpose of the healthcare of the patient. So you work all for the benefit of the patient, something like that. Thank you. Any other questions or any comments, anything else? Maybe you can help me. If no questions, let's talk about next week. Let's see who will be presenting. We need some volunteers. So is it the Brown team will be there? So do we have a volunteer to lead the meeting and the team to discuss? So I suggested 2 topics. One of them, maybe we can talk about evidence-based medicine. That's a way of documenting when you are seeing a patient, you want to look up the data and the literature so that you can manage the patient up to date. So there is a way of doing things. It's called evidence-based medicine. And if someone else can talk about professionalism, last year Dr. Ali present that. So I'm not sure, Ali, you want to present again if you are there, or someone else might present about how you gain this.
Hello, everyone.
Skills. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Anyone, if I'm Alab the Samad, I'm a leader of the Brown team. If anyone can present the next meeting, is okay. Otherwise, I will do that.
So if you can lead the meeting, that would be great. And we need volunteers.
Yes, I will discuss it with the team. Yes, I will discuss it with the team and then let you know. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks. And I think you can have access to the app where you can just add the name of the presenter here, the other presenter here. And
okay.
If anyone wants to add more discussion topics, we can add it to the agenda for next week.
Okay, thank you.
If you have questions, let me know and I'll help you. Thank you so much for volunteering. And if we don't have any questions, guys, do we have some? So if none, then I wish you all the best, guys, and have a wonderful day, weekend, night, and see you next week. Good luck. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nader.
Thank you. Have a nice one.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Nader. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Dr. Nader.
Thank you, Dr. Nader. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Hey, but do you have a question? I see your hand up.
Yes, Dr. Nader, I have one question. If you have just
Sure.
2 minutes for me. I'm sorry for the background noise.
No, no worries, no worries.
Yeah, my first question, is it considered legally if you have an externship and a hand-on experience like clinical examination in the US under the supervision?
So this is, again, it depends on the institution and the regulation. If you go to an institution where they can cover you, let's say for liability, and attending will be the supervisor who sign orders and complete the clinical notes, then it's acceptable. So you will be there to help as a medical student. What they do, they can help. You are not making decisions as far as a patient plan or management, but you may discuss the case, you may be adding some suggestions, but the final say will be the attending physician who will run the show, basically. So there are some extensions there
Okay.
where you can do that. So yeah.
So you can touch the patient, but without making any decision, and you should be supervised when you do that. That's what you mean?
That's
so
correct.
that's acceptable. It's not considered like illegal if the institute do it.
Yes, because it's a training part. So
okay.
You are not by yourself, you are seeing patient.
Thank you very much for this. Last question. Actually, I have a situation. My first interest is psychiatry, which is something I don't have experience. And finally, I had an observership in a hospital setting, and they offered me like 40 hours and working in the psychiatry emergency, where we see also like medicine cases too, because as you know, there is link between them. So I'm wondering if I put this experience from as a hospital setting for internal medicine, that would show them that I'm not committed to the internal medicine, or it's okay if it's just I round it. That's the only option I found, and that's true. This is the only like department, you know, say okay, we will take you, and I was happy, of course, because this is my first choice. So is it okay or?
So I think it's okay, and. The question they will have is, what's your real interest? And they want to see your genuine answer, your really true plans. So if you apply for internal medicine and your plans to be a psychiatrist, when you answer this question, it will be obvious for them that you are really interested in psychiatry and you just want to apply to them because you want to get yourself in the door. Yeah. But if you want to be strategic in your answer, and I talk to other fellows as well, is you are doing this fellowship, you are working with geriatric population, and you will mention that you are interested in serving the geriatric population. So that will apply to psychiatry, apply to internal medicine, family medicine. If you are interested in surgery, also that might be applicable there. But that answer will be a very quick answer, will cover anywhere you apply to. And to tell them that really the population are increasing, the older population, and you are interested in serving this population. This is why you're applying to this program, so that you can get some skills and knowledge and to offer your skills in this area. And then you can add what you are doing. Let's say, beside that, in my CV, you can see that I did the externship in whatever area, and where I saw a lot of older patients. This is why also to help me, and that's the first thing I found that can accept me in the US to learn the skills and to know the system and to whatever. I applied to this, you can mention other places where you applied to, and they didn't have open position at the time. So this is the only program or open position that I found, and I took advantage of that. It will help me, or it helped me learn the system, learn how to communicate with patients, how to communicate with the team, the medical staff, the nursing staff, social worker, and the attendants. And so you can highlight that after you give your first answer, that whatever interest, whatever drive you to seek residency in that particular program. So I don't think it's gonna put your application as a red flag or this. Okay. It depends on how you answer that question.
Okay. Thank you very much. And that's very helpful and confusing. It was confusing point for me in my application, because I'm trying, you know, as all of us, to get any opportunity just to fit in the system. Thank you, Dr. Naren. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nader. Salam
Thank you.
alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. How did that go, Samah? Things going well for you?
As you told me, basically, I left that letter of recommendation. I prepared another one and sent it for my medical school. And I'm looking for another internal medicine letter of recommendation. Anyway, yeah.
Sure.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Nader. Assalamu alaikum.
Ma salam.
Ma salam.
Good luck.